All right, so we're gonna start recording. Gonna do kind of an off-the-cuff video of how to game on Linux. If you have Ubuntu or Fedora, you can game on Linux. What I would recommend, also if you people, this is not for people who know better. So people who are running Arch, etc., Novaru, um, you already know what you're doing. But if you're new to Linux and you're running, say, Linux Mint or Ubuntu or some sort of distribution like that, then you want to, and you want a game. Well, first things first, what do you have for your hardware? To game on Linux, you need a gaming rig. You can not just pick up any old computer and magically game on Linux. Linux is not magic. It does not turn old PCs into gaming PCs. So like I have an i9, I have a Radeon 7800 XT, and I have 64 gigs of RAM. I have a gaming rig. I don't run Windows. I don't want to. So you'll need a gaming rig at least. It could be new, it could be old, whatever it is. It must be a gaming rig, not just like some off-the-shelf laptop or old Dell computer you got from some business that was closing. So you'll need something that can game. That being said, I would recommend installing Flatpak. The Flatpak versions of software, there's just more versions of software available as Flatpak than if you're in Ubuntu than snaps. So you'd be like, well, how do you install Flatpak? How do you install Flatpak? You can just ask. Um, there we go. You can ask AI. AI will tell you. Copy the code. Sudo apt install. Copy. Okay. Paste. Run it. Sudo apt install Flatpak. Excuse me. Just copy and paste the code and then run it. Once you follow the directions, or if you go to Flatpak's official website and go to Ubuntu, it'll tell you to do this. It also say to install the GNOME software plugin, so that way if you go to software, um, boom, this will happen right here. Okay, I got some updates. Okay, we'll do that here in a second. So this will let you install Steam. After you get this install Steam. Mine is, and then install Proton UpQT. This makes it a little easier, especially if you're new, because what I'm about to show you, you can just do manually, but this just makes it easier. So let's say I have Heroic. I also have that installed. I'm not logged in. Heroic logs you out after a while, so I'm not logged in. You can't see my games. But if you go to Proton UpQT, you could select add a version, and it will automatically put whatever version you want into the directory. Like, I don't have 920. Let's say I need 920. Let's say a game I want to play specifically runs on that. So install. Boom, it's going to throw it in. There it goes. So you could manually do this stuff, but Proton UpQT makes it, easier to do. And once you install Steam, you're going to go here, you're going to search. Here we go. Proton 8, Proton 9. This is for older games. Proton 7, these are like Windows XP games. But Proton 8, 9, 8 just in case, 9 definitely. Easy anti-cheat runtime, Proton experimental, BattlEye runtime, install that. In case something uses BattlEye. Experimental and then hotfix. So once that's done, go down to whatever you're playing, and then you can select properties, compatibility. So if I didn't have the compatibility checked, Days Gone, for example, is only available for Windows. I can't play it. Can't install. So now you have to go down to properties, compatibility, force the use of a Steam compatibility tool, And then 9 times out of 10, Proton Experimental is all you need to check. And it will work. Now, say with Fragpunk, I selected Proton 8. Probably won't work, but let's see. So what happens if you have a version of Proton and it won't work? It's going to go to launching. We're just going to do this in real time so you can see it. Now it's hung on the launching. So having gamed on Linux for a while, I can definitely tell you this is not going to launch. Cancel. Alright, well what about Proton 9? Okay, well now it supposedly has launched. All Windows, don't see it. Sometimes with a Linux game, it's like it's supposedly launched, and then you press all Windows, and then the game window will show up somewhere over here. Here we go. We'll see if it launches with Proton 9. Seems not responding. Okay, well it's launching anyway, so we just click wait. I've definitely tried this game with the experimental, so I know it works. Now 9, I don't know if it does, so we're going to find out.
I'm looking! Ugh!
So we're going to find out if Proton 9 works. We already saw Proton 8 doesn't. Proton Experimental does work, and GE Proton 925 works. So, in theory, 9 by itself should work. But not every version works. And then there are some games like Elden Ring, where, because when you launch a game using different versions of Proton, the game sees it as different computers or different versions of Windows. And Elden Ring, for example, will cut you off at 3 uses, and then you have to wait like a 24-hour period. So if you try to see if the game would launch with Proton 9 and it doesn't launch, and then you try Proton Experimental and you're like, okay, Proton Experimental kind of works pretty good, but I wonder if I'll get a performance boost with Proton Hotfix. You launch with that, and you're like, it wasn't as good. Okay, I'll go back to using Proton Experimental. Well, then you're locked out for a day. So sometimes that kind of
countdown.
That kind of happens.
Black market.
And so
I'd keep your head down.
Yeah, all these compatibility layers, again, these are not emulators. This compatibility layer has taken these DirectX. DirectX is a proprietary technology with Windows.
Time to draw
and
your
these all use DirectX 11 or sometimes DirectX 12. And
whoa, cool card.
we're on the fence, okay. DirectX 11 or 12. Now, 11's your best bet if you're using Linux. So they'll take these DirectX calls and they'll translate it into into something that Linux can understand, which is Vulkan. And so Vulkan is a better. I remember like Battlefield 4 back in 2011 used Vulkan, and it worked better than DirectX as far as the game and operating and performing properly. So, just something to think about.
Anybody want a wall? Protect us.
Alright, the game seems to be working fine. I'm getting 225 frames. Seems like it's doing pretty good. Oh, here they come.
Spotted me.
doing.
One enemy still standing. You won. No one can stop your.
There we go.
Not so
So looks like the game performs fine.
Sharp cards.
Alright, let's take the hit and leave. Either match, yep. So that's all you really need to game on Linux. I would also recommend with your distribution to not use a long-term release or LTS, long-term support, excuse me, distribution. So if you're just going to use Ubuntu, which most things work on Ubuntu, is why I recommend it. It's the granddaddy of all distros. So you go to Ubuntu Desktop. Do not use the LTS. Here you go, Ubuntu 25.04. That's what you want to use, simply because LTS is long-term support is a locked-in distro. It's not going to get as many updates, and you want things like driver updates for your video card, etc., the Mesa drivers, and you won't be getting as many of them. Even Fedora would be better. So Fedora is a little bit more on the, not the bleeding edge like Arc is, but the cutting edge. So Fedora 42, their games, it works pretty good. But LTS releases, I don't recommend. More stuff won't work on that. And I think that's what Linux Mint uses. I think they use an LTS. We'll double check on that. So, based on Ubuntu, yeah, it's probably uses the LTS release of Ubuntu. Pop! OS does the same thing. So if it's like, why, if it's based off Ubuntu, then just use Ubuntu. And a lot of people like Linux Mint because it looks like it uses an older version of GNOME, GNOME 2, which became the Cinnamon desktop, because when GNOME switched over to what I'm using right now, a lot of people didn't like it. So I would just use, you could use Ubuntu Mate, for example, and that'll get you your, your desktop that looks like Windows, if that's what you want. So they got different versions of Ubuntu. So you can just kind of customize it. Or if you don't like this, there's different ways of customizing everything. Anyway, that's a different rant. So what I would recommend, don't use an LTS release. I would recommend Flatpak. More stuff is available via FlatHub than via Snaps if you're using Ubuntu. And download and try games with different versions of Proton just to see what works, what doesn't work. Some games just don't. Like I remember one of the games I reviewed, it only worked at the time with Ubuntu, Proton 821, I think it was. Which one was it? Here we go. Farlight 84. Farlight 84. I think it was like GE Proton 812, and you had to do some specific stuff to get it to work. So, yeah. So you're just gonna have to play around, and some websites that will help you after you switched over to switch over to Linux will be proton.db. Before you buy any game, Elden Ring, do your research. I want to play Call of Duty. Modern Warfare. Port. Installs, yes. Opens, no. So before you buy any game, you have to look it up. Now, what about Battlefield 2042? I hear that's fucking ballin'. Nope, doesn't work. So yeah. Also, a good website to check is Are We Anti-Cheat Yet? So the finals supported. Also says borked because challenger mode. Fragment running. So this will help you figure stuff out. Valorant can't play it. Apex Legends can't play it. PUBG broken. Paladins you can play it. Smite supported. Black Desert Online running. Fall Guys running. Ark Survival supported. DayZ supported. Dead by Daylight supported. So this will let you know if it works or not. War Thunder working. 7 Days to Die working. The Squad working. New World working. Warhammer Vermintide working. Escape from Tarkov not working yet. Insurgency Sandstorm. So this will give you an idea before you start thinking of coming over to Linux, or when you do come over, it'll just give you an idea of what's available and what you can play. It's just something as a Linux gamer that you have to research all your games, and that's what I do. I research my games to see if they work, and if they don't work, I don't bother with it. So, all right, that's it. Thanks for watching.